start by telling us just briefly a little bit about yourself, about how you came into this kind of work, what motivated you.
Yeah, okay. A few years ago, I was watching television, as old people tend to do. I was watching the news too much. And I saw the news about family separation going on down in the Rio Grande Valley. And I saw places that I'd been before, because when I was younger, I'd spent some time down here. I'd been on a shrimp boat and just kind of hung around. So I saw what was going on, and I thought, instead of sitting in my chair, I'd get up and I'd come down. And that's what I did. I just headed down to the border and got myself into some trouble at the Ursula Detention Center, where they were separating the families. And after that, after spending a night in jail and doing the things that you have to do, I guess, to get through that, I kept being drawn back down. Having come to the border region and realizing, I guess, the special qualities of a border between two nations and two classes and two peoples, really, that there was something that opened up in front of me that I could see. And so I kept coming back. I went from there to Tornillo, out in West Texas, the tent camp where they were keeping some of the boys at that time. Later on, they just kept piling kids into it. Spent a little time there not understanding what I was seeing. Spent a little time in El Paso learning a little bit more about what I'd seen. And finally came back down to Tornillo and decided I would camp at the entrance to Tornillo, a vigil. And I wrangled with the bureaucracy and kind of managed to park an RV there and stayed for a few months, while other people who managed to hear about what I was doing came. Eventually, members of Congress came. It drew some attention. It was I guess a stunt in a way. Although for me it was more 40 days in the desert. But for the world, it was a stunt, and it got the attention that it deserved, and it actually closed Tornillo. Since then, there's been Homestead in Florida. 7 months there with lots of people camping out in front every day. And then finally the Remain in Mexico, the MPP vigil in Brownsville, Texas, across the river from Matamoros, where an encampment had grown up. Then there was the pandemic that sent us all scurrying home, and now we're coming back. We're back here. We needed to get our feet on the ground. We needed to be active once again. So here we are doing what we're calling a journey for justice. And that justice is taking us along the entire border from the Gulf of Mexico to the Pacific Ocean, to see what we see. And you don't take a journey because you know what you're going to find. You take a journey because you want to find out things that you don't know. And we're seeing things that we don't know. We're learning things. We're having experiences that are going to change us. And if we turn it into action, may change other things.
Mm-hmm. What are you hoping to come out of it? What sort of you expecting to see some action from the federal government, some action from the American people, some response?
I can't say that I'm expecting that, because if you walk around expecting that, you're a crazy person. I don't expect it at all. But you never know what might move the needle a little bit. Might change things. Might change a heart or two here or there. I don't do it with expectations. I do it with the recognition that something might happen, and if it does, I'll have that little bit of joy.
And, so are you guys going to be? I know you've had a film crew with you, photographers and so on. Are you guys going to be doing a documentary afterwards, invited to the board and so on?
No, that's not. It's not our thing. The film crew, the film guys, the film people come all on their own.
Oh.
And there are people that we've met before, and there have been films made before. I'm hoping a film comes out of it. But no, we're just acting in the film.
Mm-hmm. And have you had any experiences so far on the journey that kind of stood out to you, that were really marked moments in your mind?
Two things very clear. One is we crossed the Matamoros expecting that it was going to be empty because we knew that the encampment that grew up in Matamoros during the MPP had been cleared out after Biden declared an end to MPP. What we didn't expect to find there was thousands of people stranded on the streets in worse conditions than we left. We found that a large number of Venezuelans and a large number of Peruvians, some people from southern Mexico, are living on the streets there, again, in worse conditions. In other words, the toilets that were once there, the bathhouses that were constructed, weren't there. The medical support that had been organized around it, not there. The food that had been brought over daily from the other side of the river and prepared something, after a while by the World Central Kitchen, not there. These are people that are completely stranded there. These are people that are not being allowed even to put up a tent or a tarp to protect themselves from the rain, which, as you see, has been happening an awful lot lately. They're not allowed to protect themselves. If they do that, they're torn down. The Mexican government has agreed to accept Venezuelans into the country when they're expelled from our country, but they tell them that they can't stay there. Come in, but don't stay there. Their kids are shivering at night. It's getting colder. It's getting into winter. It was horrible. Right? It was horrible. And nobody in the Rio Grande Valley is acknowledging their presence even. We know something about the Haitians that have gathered in Reynosa, another town further up the river. We've known about that for a while, but this new development in Matamoros was a big surprise to everyone. The other thing, we're standing in Uvalde. I didn't know what the emotional impact would be of being there. I just didn't know. I wrote to my wife this morning, and she wrote back to me. She said, it must be like standing outside the gates of Auschwitz. Because there's a number after which you just can't comprehend numbers. Mm-hmm. And I'm still, and I may spend a long time doing this, trying to fathom the depth of what I saw here, the hole that opened up in front of me as we came up here, and as we heard from the relative parents of children who had been slaughtered in that massacre that was allowed to go on for 77 minutes without any intervention from the authorities. I vastly underestimated the emotional impact of being in a place like this. I just didn't know.
And if you were going to speak to the American people right now, send a message to the American people as a whole, what would that be?
I would say, look here. You have to see it. That's why our group is called, A Witness at the Border. You have to actually see it. It's a different thing. You may hear about it. You may get glimpses of it on the television. You may hear stories about it from mainstream media that tells you that the border is in chaos, etc. The border is not in chaos. The border is chaos. It is this destructive force that we force into people's lives here, that we prevent the motion of people from a place where they can't live in hopes of arriving at a place that they can live. The border is the chaos. It is the cruelty. Look, because they're hiding it from you. One thing the border does is it stops people, but it also stops us from seeing. We just don't see it. And it really is amazing. We could stand within 100 yards of people on the other side who are cold and hungry and sick and hoping to get in without getting a glimpse of them. You have to look. We're here to look, and we hope that everybody's eyes are turned in this direction, and at least they hear what we have to say about what's going on. It's invisible.
And is there anything I haven't covered that you'd like to add?
Well, there's a journey ahead of us, a long journey ahead of us, and I think there'll be a lot to add. Again, a journey is not to find out what you already know. A journey is to find out what you don't know. And it's also to find out who you are. Let you know who I am at the end.
Okay, very good. Thank you. I appreciate it.